I was built to last with the webs I'm weaving. I could change the past. I'm all achieving. Got my foot on the gas, never stop competing. If you break like glass, then this life's gonna end.
I wanna be the best in the game, invest in my name. Check no restraints, I'm obsessed with the pain. I ingest, I retain, assess and I change. Possessed by the thought I'll be free one day from society's restraints. Money, clout and fame, mud, disease, a plague. We all love to hate, have to play the game, have to make a name. All our insecurities are on display. This is war with the enemy, think that it was meant to be. Living in a time where disease is on every screen. I won't let them fester me, I know most are festering. Negativity is a plague for the mentally weak. No mercy, all I got is working. Never stop searching, never quite so thirsty. I'm toxic and psychotic, with this logic, you can't stop it. It's been chronic since I was a boy, so neurotic and chaotic. Built to last with the webs I'm weaving. I could change the past with all I'm achieving. Got my foot on gas, never stop competing. If you break like glass, then this life's gonna eat 'em. Make mistakes real fast, then you learn how to beat 'em. If you take off the gas, you can see all the healing. If the pain's in the past, move on from the grave and put your foot on the gas. No, never stop competing, yeah. I've been doing this, I'm on it. I just wanna be iconic. Sipping on a gin and tonic, got me going off when I'm on this topic, yeah. If I ever play, I want it. You know that I'm always honest. Stay away from those who are toxic. Keep them out your face, no way, you don't want it, yeah. Don't try to drain my energy. The enemy is everything. It's mentally, unhealthily, spreading like a rare disease. But I won't let it get to me. I don't need your therapy. I can leave a legacy of leading by intensity. Come on, we can fight this. Freedom is priceless. Spread just like a virus. Living in a crisis. Do you feel courageous? Do you seek greatness? Trust me, you can take it. Go on and take your aim. Yeah. Built to last with the webs I'm weaving. I could change the past with all I'm achieving. Got my foot on gas, never stop competing. If you break like glass, then this life's gonna eat 'em. Make mistakes real fast, then you learn how to beat 'em. If you take off the gas, you can see all the healing. If the pain's in the past, move on from the grave and put your foot on the gas. No, never stop competing, yeah.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Betting Pros NBA picks for tonight, Wednesday, March 2nd. Happy March. We got March Madness in college basketball, and we're back again for some picks in NBA. Had a good day on Friday, 5-4 overall, 2-2 in sides and totals, and 3-2 on the player props. So thrilled to be back with you tonight. It's a smaller card, but it's very exciting. Have a lot of games here and picks for you across the NBA landscape. So thrilled to be back with you again. I'm Mike Randall. You can follow me on Twitter at RandallRan, and all the great information you need here is at Betting Pros. You can join me each Wednesday and Friday, rest of the NBA season. We're going to be live again on this Friday and then come back to you the following Wednesday. Please subscribe to the Betting Pros YouTube channel. You can hit it below. Join us in the live chat. I'll be answering questions. I'll be stopping to take questions after the sides as well this week. So if you have some questions about the games that I'm on or the props, feel free to put it in below. Books I'll use as always: DraftKings, FanDuel, PointsBets, BetMGM. Have to shop around. There's been a lot of change. Listen, this year in the NBA, COVID is still an issue. We have a major player out again tonight for the Phoenix Suns. So it's still good to check those lines and find the best line for yourself, as well as the information that is being updated constantly. So many great deals here at all the sites, sports betting community. It's still continuing to grow through all the states. New users to BetMGM. You can bet $10 on any event. You'll win $150 in free credits, regardless of the outcome of your bet. Use that promo code JUICE150 at sign up. Link can be found in the video description or pinned in the live chat. So, folks, here we go. NBA bets for tonight. The premier game of the evening is the Bucks and the Heat. I have my Bucks hat on here, the reigning NBA champions, but tonight we're going in the other direction. The Miami Heat are playing like the favorite to win the NBA title, in my opinion. I put a future down on them recently at plus 1,000. They are 41-21 right now, the Heat, number one in the Eastern Conference. They are 9-1 in their last 10 games, and they've won 4 games in a row. Over their last 24 games, Miami is 18-6. Now, why the improvement? Because they're getting healthy. Bam Adebayo returned from a torn UCL in his thumb. He's played 19 games. Bam is not a 30-20 center, but what he is an impact player on both ends of the court. 19, 10, and 4 is his averages in those 19 games since he's come back. The Heat always play Milwaukee tough, and this is a rivalry. This matchup feels like the Eastern Conference Finals of this year. Miami knocked the Bucks out 2 years ago down in the bubble. 4-1. Bucks returned the favorite last year, swept Miami out of the playoffs. The Heat have gone 2-1 against the Bucks this year, and they only had one of those games with Bam. Now, Miami will be without Kyle Lowry tonight, who is out again for personal reasons, but that is the one player that Miami can actually overcome. The 25-year-old Gabe Vincent, UC Santa Barbara Gaucho represent, has been playing very well in Lowry's absence. Here are the lines for Gabe Vincent this year. 20 points and 4 threes in the big one against the Bulls recently. 16, 4, and 8 at Washington, 26 points against the Sixers, and 23 and 7 threes against the Clippers. That long distance shooting for the Heat tonight should help against the Bucks. The Bucks are one of the worst teams at defending three-pointers. They've allowed the most three-pointers per game to opposing teams of anyone in the league. That includes 3.57 made three-pointers to opposing point guards and 3.65 made threes per game to opposing shooting guards. Hello, Tyler Hero. Hello, Duncan Robinson. Milwaukee's defense has not been good of late, which is surprising, but the stats play it out that way. 8th worst in the NBA the last 2 weeks, allowing over 123 points per game in the last month. The Bucks have lost 4 of 6. They have not been playing well, and against the spread this year, the Bucks have been a surprising 27-35, 43.6%. That's 6th worst in the NBA. Milwaukee is also brutal against the spread at home, 12-21, 4th worst in the NBA. They haven't covered in 5 of 6. Now, can Milwaukee turn it around against the hottest team in the NBA right now? I am not betting on it. I grabbed this line right away when it was Miami getting 5. It went down to 4. It's bouncing back and forth between 4 and 4.5. So the official show play here, Miami plus 4.5 against Milwaukee on FanDuel. This is a game that I think is going to be massive for the Heat. I just think that this is the team. They are ready to move forward. Jimmy Butler, great coach. They have depth. Max Strus shooting threes from beyond the arc. This is a team, I think they're ready to come in. I think the Bucks will compete, but in the end, I don't think the Bucks can flip the switch tonight against the Heat. Again, if you have any questions, please put them in the chat. Second game we have here, look, we're totally on the Pelicans last week against the Phoenix Suns. That played out great. We took the 7 points. They actually won it outright. We would have had the over, but that game died. That game was projecting well beyond the over. And then because the Pelicans were actually leading the Suns by so much on Friday, the game slowed down and ended up going under. We are going back to the Pelicans tonight at home against Sacramento. What CJ McCollum has done more than anything is he's put the New Orleans players into roles that they're more comfortable with. They're 3-2 in their last 5 games with McCollum. They had 2 tough home losses to Memphis. No shame there. Grizzlies, one of the best teams in the NBA. And Dallas, when Luka Doncic went nuts with 49, 15, and 8 right before the All-Star break. So now McCollum is the lead scorer, the lead player on the Pelicans team. Not only is he freed from Damian Lillard, he also has now put Brandon Ingram in a secondary scoring role, which is really what he is. He's more comfortable to be Robin than he is to be Batman. Ingram, 28, 7, and 5 against the Suns. He was the perfect complement to McCollum on offense. What does that do for the rest of the players? Herb Jones, defensive stopper. Valanciunas is now your 3rd scorer, which is tremendous, and an interior presence. What else does that do? The Tentacles bump Devontae Graham back to the bench, where he's a great spark plug, a microwave coming off the bench. He's not a starting point guard. And McCollum's presence has actually lit a fire under Tony Snell, who's making almost all of his threes. The Kings are 13 and 17 against the spread on the road. That's the fourth worst in the NBA. And Sacramento is playing their third road game in 6 days. Rashard Holmes is out. That leaves the Kings shorthanded inside. And with a total of 233.5 points, I think this is a shootout, which is what Sacramento needs it to be. The problem is the Kings don't have the offense to match the Pelicans. Last 7 games, the Pelicans have struggled to contain opposing point guards, which is why De'Aaron Fox should have a huge game. However, there's a flip side to that coin from one of my favorite movies, Heat. De'Aaron Fox has been terrible on defense, which is a net negative. Inside, they traded for Sabonis. His touches have really dropped off since joining the Kings. Trey Lyles started last game and played great, but I see regression from Trey Lyles here. He is our top play on the BettingPros cheat sheet for player props, which I'll get to a little bit later. He's projected by our measure at 7.5 points, Trey Lyles, which is well below the 13.5 player prop. The Pelicans have been tough against opposing centers and power forwards during this span. The insertion now of Jackson Hayes to the starting lineup has made them even tougher against opposing big men. New Orleans does give up a ton of threes. The question is, do the Kings have the talent to make those threes? They are actually not been good from three-point range the last month, 7th fewest three-pointers in the last month for Sacramento. Now, I like this Pelicans team a lot. They want to make the playoffs. They're making a push. They want that 9-10 game at home. They are 6.5 games back from the 8th seed. So that's really their focus. Right now, they're in 10th. They're looking to move up to 9th. They have balanced scoring, strong interior presence, and they're shooting well from three-point range. Pelicans, 15-point win at Phoenix, 28-point win at the Lakers with this whole unit together. They're not going to stumble tonight against a Kings team that is on a compacted 3-game road trip. Give me the Pelicans. I got it at 4.5. It's now up to 6. We'll make the official show play. New Orleans -6. Now, staying in this game with the total, I got burned by that Pelicans over last week, but that game was flying towards the total. The Kings want this fast. That's how they play, and their defense gives me no reason to think that they're going to be able to stop the Pelicans' offense. Sacramento, 9th worst in defensive rating this month. Last 2 weeks, Pelicans allowing 5th most points per game. Kings are the 7th. Now, New Orleans is 25 and 36 to the under this year. However, that is the 3rd most under team in the NBA, but they are only 3-3 in their last 6 games with McCollum. The offense has gone up since his arrival. The Kings, 17-12-1 to the over as a road team, and Sacramento, 8 of their last 11 games have been to the over. A lot of points tonight in New Orleans. I expect a close game, but I do think the Pelicans pull away at the end. We are backing the over tonight at a line of 235.5. It opened at 235.5. We'll take it right now. We've gotten a couple points of value down to 233. So the official show play here, over 233 in this game. Again, put those questions in the chat if you have them. I will move on to one more game tonight. Orlando +2 now against Indiana. Got that on DK -110. Look, we backed the Magic last week and it didn't work out, but I'm going back to the well here in Orlando against the Pacers, and the Magic are getting 2 at home. Magic had a 119-103 win over Indiana just 2 nights ago. They are looking, Orlando, for their first 3-game winning streak this year. The worst team in the NBA is going for 3 games in a row. Why? They've been playing better of late. Mo Bamba has been playing better. Markelle Fultz came back last game as well. The line opened at Orlando -3, but is now flipped down to Orlando getting 2. Why? It's because Malcolm Brogdon sat out last game as a precaution on the second night of a back-to-back. But my question to you is Malcolm Brogdon worth 5 points of value? Not for an Indiana team that's record is not very good and plays no defense. Indiana is still capping Brogdon's minutes. When he does play, he often doesn't play the fourth quarter. The injury issues with Brogdon are real. He's come back twice this year, and he's ended up getting injured in the game. So I don't think his return is worth 5 points of value on the road. Again, the Pacers do not play defense. Last month, Pacers' 3rd worst defensive rating in the league. They've allowed 117.3 points the last 4 games. Magic only allowing 109.7. Their defense has actually improved. Now, the Pacers do have some athleticism. Halliburton, Isaiah Jackson on the inside, but Jackson is vulnerable to foul trouble. We saw that last time. 2 fouls in the beginning of the game. 2 fouls started the second half, and that really held them back. Now, the Magic have a very solid guard trio here. Fultz, Cole Anthony, Jalen Suggs. They can all attack the Pacer guards, and all of a sudden, the Magic are very deep. Gary Harris, Terrence Ross. Suggs matched a career high with 10 assists against the Pacers. Not a surprise because it's a great matchup. Chris Duarte is hurt. Make sure to check to make sure he's out. I think he will be. I'm going to take a chance on the Magic and back them. I know it's scary, but I think Orlando gets their third straight win as the worst team in the NBA. Pacers haven't been much better this year, and I just don't think Brogdon's return is worth 5 points. So give me Orlando +2 in my last bet here for the sides. All right, we got a couple questions here in the chat, and then we'll get to the player props. Cavs, Hornets, a stay away. I love the Cavs if Garland plays, but slam the opposition in every game he plays. Thoughts? This is what I'll tell you. The Hornets really have not played well lately, except for that 141 burger they posted against the Pistons. I would be careful in that game. I've been looking at the under. I think their defense is legit. I'm not sure of Garland's status, but either way, I have a play on Jared Allen, which we'll talk about in a little bit, because he dominates. And the Hornets are lethal against centers. Backing a solid, going against a solid Cavs team at home against a team that struggles like the Hornets, I'm not sure about that. Right now, I would lean Cleveland. Also, thoughts on points, rebounds, assists for guys like Cam Johnson and Giannis today. The Giannis one is interesting. I tend to lean with the big names to the over in big games. When you have your Luka, when you have your Giannis, those type of players that are going against other teams that are good quality opponents, like you saw DeRozan against the Heat, things like that, I tend to go over. Cam Johnson, 25.5. Our projections have Cam under. I like Cam, and my instinct was to like him, but when I started doing the projections and I looked at our BettingPros cheat sheet, it has Cam under, so I would be careful. I don't know what the rotation is going to be. The player that I like right there, if I had to pick one, is Cam Payne. His prop could come out very late. I think Cam Payne coming back off of injury is going to start. I think that number is going to come in a little bit low, and I think the usage is going to go through the roof. I am not worried about a Torrey Craig Cam Payne connection there. Last question from Robert. Any interest in Cole Anthony overs? I'm on the fence. I actually like Cole Anthony unders tonight, Robert, because Markelle Fultz played. Jalen Suggs played really well. I think Anthony's points, rebounds, assist numbers around 26.5. That's one I would look at. I'm just concerned because I don't think he's going to get as many minutes. Ross and Harris are still an issue, so I think the number's a little high. If he goes 16, 5, and 5, you win with the under, so I would be careful there. Now let's look over and take a look at some of the props. First prop I'm going to look at, and again, make sure you check out our BettingPros cheat sheet here because some of these are just jumping off the page. First one, Jackson Hayes, as I mentioned, of the Pelicans, over 11.5 points versus Sacramento. This is our 9th best pick on the BettingPros cheat sheet. We project him for 14.4 points. That's a 2.9 point difference, 25.2% higher. Look, this isn't complicated. You want to target players against the Kings. You particularly want to target players on the interior when Holmes is out. Pelicans are home. This has a high over-under total. You know McCollum's going to get his points, but his number is higher. I'm going here with Jackson Hayes on our BettingPros cheat sheet, one of the top 10 plays that we have, over 11.5 points versus Sacramento. Second one up, Wendell Carter Jr. Now, I like the Magic, but I think Wendell Carter Jr.'s number for his points is a little too high tonight. I'm going under 17.5 points for Carter versus Indiana. Here's why. First, it's the 5th best pick on our BettingPros cheat sheet. Our projection here has him for 13.9 points, which is 3.6 points below, over 20% below what the prop is. Isaiah Jackson picked up the fouls last time. Jalen Smith, who also starts inside, came over from Phoenix for a trade, has done very well, was ejected. I think Orlando's going to compete well in this game and win. I just don't know if Wendell Carter is going to have 18 points. I could see 15, 16, somewhere around there, and I think he benefited from having the Pacers' bigs foul out of the last game. So second pick here, Wendell Carter Jr. under 17.5 points. Third one, Rockets. Players going against the Rockets, such as the Jazz, Donovan Mitchell. Over, I got this at 25.5 points. I still like it over 26.5 points. This is the number 2 rated prop on our Betting Pros cheat sheet. Top 10 picks on the Betting Pros cheat sheet are hitting at 56% so far this year. We're projecting Mitchell for 30 points per game. The Rockets play fast. The Rockets are turnover prone. The Rockets don't play defense. Now, they are getting Kevin Porter Jr. back, which I like because that could keep this game actually somewhat competitive long enough that Mitchell can post big numbers. Mitchell has been great, hitting 30 points in almost each of his last 4 games. 25-26 is too low. This is like the Curry number last night against Minnesota. Got that at 26.5, and he ended up with 34. Donovan Mitchell to keep it rolling against a poor defense of the Rockets, over 25.5, 26.5. I still like it. Mentioned this earlier. Let's go to the big man in Cleveland, Jarrett Allen, over 29.5 points, rebounds, assists on DraftKings. 3 games against the Hornets, Jarrett Allen, 21, 14, and 2. That's 37 points, rebounds, assists, average against the Hornets, and tonight it's 8 points under. I lost this prop earlier this month. He had 29 and 22 without Garland against the Hornets this year. Hornets 5th most fantasy points to opposing centers in the last 7, 2nd most points per game, 7th most rebounds during that time. Last 15 games, last 30, all season, however you want to look at it, it doesn't matter to me. I'm going to go over here with Jarrett Allen on the Betting Pros cheat sheet. You want to break this down? We project Allen to go over in his points. We project Allen to go over in his rebounds, and we project Allen to go over his assists. This isn't hard. Let's put it together on DraftKings, over 29.5 points, rebounds, assists. Couple more for you to consider. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander under 26.5 points. The Oklahoma City Thunder are very shorthanded. They're going against a Nuggets team that is starting to make a run, that wants to get back into the swing of things. You're hearing Michael Porter Jr. may be back. Aaron Gordon has been playing well. Now Oklahoma City has to go to the altitude to play a Nuggets team. You have Jokic trying to get into the running for the MVP and make a big push at the end. This is a terrible spot. The line is super high. It's altitude. Oklahoma City's shorthanded. The Nuggets are good against point guard scoring this year. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander under 26.5 points. I just don't like the mix. The reason you're getting some extra points here is because SGA's been on fire, hitting 30 points each of his last 3 games. We're going to fade recency bias and go under with Shai on the road in the altitude against Denver, whether it's a blowout risk, whether it's the Nuggets defense. I don't think he hits that number. One more here. We'll go with Gabe Vincent over 10.5 points. You can get this FanDuel, DraftKings, all over. If I have to break down this Heat Bucks matchup, I think Tucker's going to guard Giannis, and I think Drew is going to be on Gabe. But when Tyler Hero comes in, or if Duncan Robinson gets hot, they could switch Holiday over. I just don't think they're game planning to stop Gabe Vincent because they just don't buy in. There's too many other options on this team. Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, Hero's been on fire. Robinson spaces the floor. Vincent gets his points. The Bucks cannot stop the threes, which I told you about, and Vincent has been scalding hot in his last few games. 10.5 points for a player who's going to get close to 40 minutes tonight because Kyle Lowry's out against a Bucks team that can't guard threes. Give Vincent at least 2 threes tonight. He just needs to find 5 of the points some other way. You know, Jimmy Butler's great with assists. Bam has been picking up some good assists lately. I've hit his over in his assist prop. I'm fine with Gabe Vincent over 10.5 points tonight. I'll add one more for you. We're going to go and make it official show play because Robert told us there in the chat. Cole Anthony under 26.5 points, rebounds, assists. I think you have it on DK. You can go there as well. I'm going under with him because I think there's a rotation going on here in the backcourt. Brogdon coming back should help a little bit with defense. I think the Pacers players, the interior players don't foul out, so I don't know if Anthony gets to the rim. His shooting numbers haven't been great. I just think it's too high. We're making an official show play here. Cole Anthony under 26.5 points, rebounds, assists. 2 that I want you to look at. I'm not making them official show plays, but you should consider. I loved Chris Middleton over 4.5 assists. It was one of the top plays on the Betting Pros cheat sheet. The public has caught on. That juice is at minus 150, even minus 160 in some sites. So if you can somehow find it at 5.5 and may want to go after it, please do. You have Middleton, who's averaging almost 6 assists per game when he goes against the Heat. This month, he's averaging 5.1. So if you can get a good number, I'd take a look at it. Loved it at 4.5. It opened up with the juice at minus 125 and has skyrocketed. And the other one, if you want to go for an Isaiah Jackson one, I have no problem with going with the points over 9.5 because I do think he's going to stay on the court and not have as much foul trouble. So, folks, that's what we're looking at. Let's see if we have any more questions. I gave you the 4 picks. I gave you the props. Always check my Twitter handle at Randall Rant. If there's any news that comes out or there's any changes, I'll certainly make updates there. We had a good night on Friday. Let's get after it and make sure that we can go in and get some more money and build ourselves towards Friday. Only about 20 games left in the NBA season, so each of these games are critical. So if you have to skew, Denver needs this game at home. The Jazz need a win. There's no more messing around. And the game of the night, Miami and the Bucks, I'm back in the Heat on the road to win outright against Milwaukee, but I'll take the 4.5 just in case. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. See you again on Friday.